You're probably here because you got an email from Squarespace saying, action needed, Google Drive update affecting forms. Basically, the connection between Squarespace Forms and Google Drive is breaking or being reset on September 23rd, and you need to disconnect and reconnect all of those forms before then. This affects regular old forms, newsletter blocks, pop-ups, covered pages, anywhere in Squarespace that you can connect to a Google Sheet. If you did that, you have to reset it and reconnect it. Now, you might not need to reconnect this. I'm a professional web designer, and for years, I connected every Squarespace form that I built with a Google Drive sheet as a data backup, just as a failsafe. I was taught redundancy. You need to be storing stuff in more than one place in case the storage gets broken. And so I relied on this Google Sheets integration to back up the data for my clients. Fast forward to now, Squarespace does offer native form submission storage. So if you go to your website, I'll go to my Strong Sites page. Okay. So if you go to your base Squarespace login area and see where it says Contacts, if you go into there, you can click on Form Submitters, and it will show you everybody who's submitted a form on your website. Now, I haven't been using forms that much, so you just see one. Anybody who submitted a form on your website since Squarespace rolled this feature out a couple years ago will be stored in there. If you were just using it as a storage fallback for your email or whatever, you may not need to reconnect to Google Drive. You may just be able to let it expire. In days of yore, one of the only ways to make a real automated integration, like to do something with the data from a form besides just send it to an email, was to send it to a Google Sheet and then set up an integration from that Google Sheet to some kind of script or to Zapier or something like that. So Squarespace now offers a native Zapier integration. So if you relied on Google Sheets for some kind of integration, you may be able to rebuild that directly in Zapier. I'll show you where you do that. It's right here in Storage, Additional Storage. And right there by Google Drive, there's the Zapier option, so you can connect it to your Zapier account. So if you were just using it as a secondary form of storage or as a trigger for an automation, you may not need Google Sheets anymore on your website form. Oh, by the way, one other option besides Zapier, say you want to use a different automation tool like Make.com or Pabbly Connect, you can use a custom email address trigger in those automation services. So basically you can send the form to some kind of gobbledygook custom email address that you create in those automation platforms. You'll submit the form and send a test submission into that service like Make or Pabbly, and then you can teach the automation to parse the different fields of that form and take it from there. Then you've got your data in the pipeline and you can do whatever you want with it. I've done that before on client sites as well. All right, but let's say you really do still need the Google Sheets integration. Well, here's how you reconnect it. You actually start in Google Drive. So go to your Google Drive and click on the gear icon in the top right, Settings. On the left, you go over to where it says Manage Apps. So you click Options and Disconnect from Drive. With those 3 or 4 clicks, you've broken the connection between Squarespace and Google Drive for all the forms where it was connected. There are now no forms sending data through. Now you go back to Squarespace and go to each and every form, newsletter block, promotional pop-up, anywhere that was syncing to Google, and you go into Storage, Additional Storage, Google Drive, and you have to disconnect it, and then you have to reconnect it. And here's the bummer. Even if you type in the exact same spreadsheet name, it will not relink to the same spreadsheet. It creates a new one. And it's always been that way, but most people didn't have to think about that because they connected it once and just left it be. But if this is what you're doing and you're reconnecting your Squarespace account to your Google Drive, then yeah, it's going to create a new sheet. So once it's reconnected, you have to create a spreadsheet name. Like I said, even if you use the exact same name, it's going to create a totally new spreadsheet. And once you click back, it saves it and creates that spreadsheet in your Google Drive. And then you're done. For most people with just one site, this would be a little bit of an inconvenience, maybe not that much of an issue. For somebody like me who manages dozens, if not hundreds of sites and has hundreds of different forms and forum fields connected, this is maddening. And it's especially frustrating that the notification email doesn't specify where the forms are. Feels like that would be something that should be possible to do. There's been a little bit of an outcry in the Circle forum on Squarespace about this, and the admins there are trying to figure out if that's something they can flag for us. But right now, it is what it is. And if you are feeling frustrated with Squarespace forms and wanting to have a form that's not hosted and controlled in this way by Squarespace on your Squarespace website, I do have a couple of recommendations. So form builders are notoriously expensive. Jotform and Typeform, two of the biggest in the form software industry, are both extremely expensive, and their free tiers are extremely limited. So I'm going to show you three of my favorites. Fillout is my newest favorite, and the thing I like about it is they've got an AI powered form generator that you can throw a PDF into it, you can throw just text pasted of the form questions, or even just describe the kind of form you're looking for. It will crank out an extremely decent one in just a minute. Most of the times I've used that feature, it gets it 90% of the way there, and I just have to do a little bit of tweaking and I've got a usable form. Their free tier has lots of advanced features enabled, like file uploads, like notification emails to any email address you want. Imagine that. Unlimited forms and logic, and some decently powerful integrations like Google Sheets, like Notion and MailChimp and Airtable and stuff. So Fillout is one that I like. Another one that I like that I've used a fair amount is Tally. So Tally rose to prominence among the Notion community. If you like using Notion, you will like using Tally because it's designed very similarly to how Notion is laid out. They've got a solid free tier as well. Last but not least, Tripetto. So Tripetto is perhaps best known for their WordPress form building plugin, but they have something called Tripetto Studio that's extremely powerful. But then if you want to make it totally unbranded, instead of paying a monthly fee forever, like you would to Jotform or something like that, you can pay $99 once for that form to remove all the branding from it. So I built this site for a financial advisor client, and his Get in Touch form is built on Squarespace. It's nothing that Squarespace couldn't handle, but for his Become a Client form, it was extremely complex. Dozens of fields, conditional logic, and so I really like Tripetto for those one-off complex forms where you don't want to have to be paying $50 a month to Jotform for the life of your business. So I'll include links to all of those in the footer, as well as a link to Squarespace's official documentation about this change. I'll hang out in the comments. If you have questions, ask. I'll do the best I can. I don't know everything, but I got a lot of questions from clients about this email. I was pulling some of my own hair out about it, and so I decided to make this video in the hopes it would help somebody else. If it helped you, give it a thumbs up or whatever you're supposed to do on YouTube.